We talk about the future of global energy security, and within that, the transition, technology, trade and investment, the correlated focal areas which we are going to be taking it forward. But before we open the doors for the discussions and deliberations, we bring you greater insights into IF16 with a short film.
Energy, enabling the economies to flourish, fueling worldwide industrial growth, helping maintain higher standards of living, creating more competitive world markets, transporting people, goods on a global scale. Energy, the lifeblood of modern society. The need for clean, efficient and secure energy has never been greater. At the same time, the pace of change in the global energy scenario has never been faster. The US shale revolution, solar technology advancements and cost reductions, the shifting geopolitics, and the evolution of distributed generation and systems, to name a few, have surprised even the most learned of experts. And what is to come in the near future, e-mobility via electric vehicles, smart grids, storage and digitalization are technologies that could forever change existing business models and potentially entire systems in both power and transportation sectors. With these fast-paced changes and changing global climate patterns, the energy mix is shifting towards cleaner, lower carbon fuels driven by environmental needs and technological advancements. The greatest challenge lies in meeting the dual requirements of supplying the energy the world needs to grow and prosper, while also reducing carbon emissions. A renewed focus on reducing greenhouse emissions has put natural gas into the limelight as the fastest growing and cleanest burning fossil fuel. Abundant natural gas resources and robust production contribute to the strong competitive position of natural gas and liquefied natural gas as they continue to grow as key fuels in the transportation, power and industrial sectors. Fostering global cooperation in the energy domain is a prerequisite for economic growth. Covering all 6 continents and accounting for almost 90% of global supply and demand for oil and gas, the International Energy Forum aims to foster greater mutual understanding and awareness among its 72 member countries, thereby ensuring global energy security. The forum's biennial ministerial meetings are widely considered to be the world's largest gathering of energy ministers, and the 15 previous editions have played a stellar role in furthering the cause of energy collaboration. The Joint Organizations Data Initiative, or JODI, is REF's grand initiative to ensure data transparency in energy markets, whereby undue price volatility can be moderated, contributing to greater stability in world supplies. As demand for energy continues to grow, there are no easy solutions for carbon-free energy. While renewables like wind and solar have come up as worthy alternatives, they still provide a very small share of the world energy mix. Biofuels, hydrogen fuel cells, etc. will eventually play an expanded role with further technological advancements, cost reductions and policy support from governments. While we continue to hunt down new sources of energy, we must also reflect on the lopsided nature of energy consumption. Synergies fostering greater mutual understanding and awareness of common energy interests among nations can go a long way in bringing the bottom of the pyramid to light. As the third largest consumer of oil and gas in the world, energy continues to be the key driver of economic growth in India. Sustainable, stable and reasonably priced energy is essential for the country's outreach programs to deliver the fruits of economic development to the masses.
My vision for India's energy future has four pillars: energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, energy security.
While attaining these objectives, keeping the environment paramount is a prime objective, as is conserving of energy resources, and India continues its quest for equitable distribution of these resources. The world is on the cusp of change. Global cooperation, sustainable economic growth, and technology innovation will help steer energy systems worldwide towards a new transformed future. This requires new policies, strategies, and the consideration of novel and at times risky investments. We invite you to address these pressing issues before the world and find solutions that mankind will be thankful for in times to come. The future of global energy security, transition, technology, trade, and investment. Welcome to the 16th International Energy Forum at New Delhi, India.
So ladies and gentlemen, as we are ready to embrace this change and be a part of the change, we start with the inaugural session by inviting the views and perspective of our leaders. Please join me as I invite here on stage His Excellency Dr. Xunshan Shen, respected Secretary General of the International Energy Forum. Welcoming His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, the Honorable Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources, Saudi Arabia. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, the Honorable Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and also the Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, India. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the globally recognized transformative leader, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the inaugural session and basically a context-setting session. So I first request and invite His Excellency Dr. Xunshan Shen, respected Secretary General of IEF, for his opening remarks.
Your Excellency Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, Your Excellency Dharmendra Pradhan, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and also the Minister for Skill Development and Enterprises of India, Your Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellencies, the Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 16th session of the International Energy Forum Ministerial. It is my honor and a pleasure to be here in New Delhi. The great 17th century Indian poet Mirza Ghalib described it best. He said, "I asked my soul, what is a Delhi?" She replied, "The world is a body and the Delhi is its life." I'm proud to hold our flagship event in India, a country whose future is bright and blooming. As a result, India will help drive global energy market developments in the coming decades. I welcome 332 delegations, including 50 more ministers, 30 captains of industries, and 12 of heads of international organizations, among 1,200 plus delegates here today. This 16th IEF Ministerial meeting would not be possible without the tremendous commitment and dedication from the India government. Let us thank the host country of the IEF 16 and applaud the India government for its leadership. I would also like to thank and recognize our co-hosts of China and Korea for supporting us in these efforts. Through the dialogue, the IEF seeks to moving forward faster and further by embracing shared value propositions for both producer and consumer countries in the benefit of all. The fossil fuel sector shall continue to provide around 3/4 of energy demand in 2040, according to the main scenarios of a recent IEA and OPEC outlooks. More dialogue on the mutual reinforcing role of fossil fuels and clean energy technologies, including the renewable, will lead to the reliable, realistic transformation that all can afford, and the rational responses to the global questions we face together. Energy sector transformation do not happen overnight, so it is imperative that we acknowledge the present energy market reality and discuss how technological and policy change impact the trade and investment in both the short and long term. Dialogue on evolving energy dynamic among producer and consumer countries is where the IEF 16 Ministerial, the largest gathering of energy ministers in the world, become relevant. What has IEF achieved since we last met at the landmark IEF 15th Ministerial meeting in Algiers in 2016? With your support over the past 2 years, we enhanced dialogue on energy security and orderly energy transitions at the 2 intergovernmental meetings. The 5th IEF ITU Ministerial Guest Conference, hosted by India in New Delhi in 2016, and the 7th Asia Ministerial Energy Roundtables, hosted by the Thailand government in Bangkok in 2017. The trilateral work program with the IEA, OPEC, we advanced the high-level dialogue on the market outlooks in 2+3 symposia, namely the 7th and 8th Joint Symposium on Energy Outlooks IEF convened in Riyadh, the 5th and the 6th Joint Workshop on the fiscal and the financial energy market interactions that OPEC hosted in Vienna, the 3rd Joint Symposium on gas and coal market outlooks IEA hosted in Paris. We have improved market transparency through the Joint Organization Data Initiative. Since 2016, our duty activities have been aligned to the 5-year plan and its key objectives since the adoption at the IEF 15 in Algiers. Recent highlights include duty workshop for Eastern Europe CIS region, held with the support of a EU4 Energy Initiative and in collaboration with the IEA in Ukraine in March 2018. Here, after 7 years of relentless efforts, we achieved important breakthroughs. Duty data can now be viewed from different major data redistribution agencies that are the Argus, Bloomberg, and the Thomson Reuters. As of 2017, 114 countries are featured in duty oil world database and 85 for the duty gas database. The IEF worked with the partners to implement IEF 15 mandates adopted in Algiers with the generous support of Algeria, Russia, Kingdom of Bahrain, and OFID. we held 2 special international symposia. In the context of G20, we continue to contribute to the G20 agenda on market transparency, on the G20 presidency of Argentina, and further advance the IEF energy efficiency knowledge framework under the G20 presidency of Germany. This involved the dialogue on efficient and healthy energy market in key meetings with the European Union partners. We look forward to take the outcome of these discussions further in this year's IEF 16th Ministerial, gathering on the theme, the future of global energy security, transition, technology, trade, and investment. The many submissions we have received from the official IEF 16 publication and the comprehensive IEF BCG background materials and the papers received from IEA, OPEC, and OFIT further set the stage for a timely and well-informed dialogue. With your contribution to the outcomes of this IEF 16 Ministerial, we will take the dialogue forward. The 6th IEF IGO Ministerial Gas Forum on 21 to 22nd November this year in Barcelona, Spain. The 2nd IEF IAC Symposium on 31st July 2018 in Beijing, China. The 8th Asia Ministerial Energy Roundtable, the UAE host on 9 to 10 September 2019 in Abu Dhabi. Thank you for your attendance and attention.
Thank you, sir, for setting the tone and the context of the discussions which we are going to be taking further as we move forward in the IEF 16. Thank you so very much, sir. And now requesting His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, the Honorable Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources, Saudi Arabia, for his address.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Ministers and Excellencies and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be back in India, or may I say, incredible India. This nation has achieved tremendous development and prosperity and possesses so much potential for the future, which is a sentiment of the successful and visionary policies of the Honorable Prime Minister. It is a distinct privilege for all of us, sir, to have you inaugurate this important event. I also want to thank the Honorable Dharmendra Pradhan, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and indeed the entire Indian government for this incredible hospitality and organizational effort to host this impressive gathering of energy ministers, CEOs, and international energy organizations. It is very fitting that this IEF ministerial meeting is being held in a nation which over the coming quarter century will see the fastest energy demand growth in the world, accounting for almost 1/3 of total energy demand growth. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that the world is undergoing an energy transformation. But much of today's energy debate centers on the pace and scope of this transformation and the optimum way forward. I, for one, strongly believe that for a long time to come, the world will need all energy sources, including increasing volumes of oil and gas. So we must have a dual purpose. First, we certainly need to develop new energy sources and technologies. But second, we must continue investing in those existing energy sources, which we know will be needed for the foreseeable future. In other words, we need to take a holistic view and consider the totality of energy, meaning the sum total of all forms of energy throughout their value chains, from production through consumption. In my mind, this is the recipe for an orderly and successful transformation. In Saudi Arabia, we've adopted this approach and continue to strengthen our oil and gas businesses while concurrently developing renewable energy, in which we also possess great potential and intend to be a global leader. This emphasis is expressed in the recent announcement by our Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, of a $200 billion investment to develop 200 gigawatts of solar power, one of the world's largest ever solar programs. Ladies and gentlemen, when we discuss energy, we must keep in mind the issue of energy accessibility, adequacy, and affordability, especially since energy is such a pivotal driver of economic growth, job creation, and the ability of people to raise their living standards. Likewise, we need to consider the environmental aspects of energy in order to achieve economic development and protect the well-being of our planet. This was eloquently stated by the Honorable Prime Minister in the video we just saw when he talked about energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, and energy security. One guiding principle of the Paris Agreement is that global climate actions must be taken within the context of sustainable development and poverty eradication. So as we move toward implementing the agreement in 2020, we must reduce the impact of greenhouse gases in a manner that minimizes risks to energy security, cushions economic impacts, and preferentially focuses on sectors that deliver the biggest bang for our buck. And as we gather here in India, we must take note of the visible economic, energy, and environmental challenges faced by developing nations, while calling on industrialized nations to take the lead from an equity perspective. We therefore need to promote more pragmatic energy policies for the future, keeping in mind the complex factors involved, the fact that countries are at different development stages and the rapidly changing technological landscape. That is best accomplished through discussions like the dialogue we're kicking off this morning, which is most fruitful with the full involvement of key stakeholders under the IEF umbrella. I am glad we're able to bring together such influential agencies as the International Energy Agency, OPEC, the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, the World Energy Forum, and the World Petroleum Council, amongst others. The IEF has done a tremendous job of advancing consumer-producer dialogue, but it would perform another invaluable service by organizing the effort to develop an optimum energy transition blueprint. I also believe the importance of the global energy dialogue has never been greater than at the present moment when so many uncertainties surround the energy markets. Unfortunately, even as we call for a totality of energy approach, the future supply situation of many proven energy sources is not very reassuring, particularly for oil. Many of us are familiar with the misguided and contrary notions of peak supply and more recently, peak demand, both of which lost credibility over the years. But today, rather than a peak, I am more concerned about a trough that is real, and that is the threat of trough investment, which is much more worrying because lagging investments has real-life consequences, not just a conceptual existence in blogs and newspaper articles. At present, even though oil demand has been growing recently at a rate of 1.5 million barrels per day, oil investments have not kept pace. This is due not simply to immediate market conditions, but also to an investment climate shaped by adverse sentiment and misleading signals from policy makers, some financial institutions voicing negative views, and misguided talk of stranded resources. You can imagine that in this kind of environment, investors would not be willing to pour trillions of dollars into maintaining and growing much-needed oil supplies. Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, as fossil fuels will be with us for many decades to come, we must create an enabling and encouraging environment for investments all along the petroleum value chain and to drive for the use of advanced technologies to minimize the carbon footprint of these proven fuels. Then, and only then, can we ensure we're concurrently advancing both the accessibility and sustainability of energy use. With regards to the short-term oil market, which I know is on the minds of many of you, we see strong fundamentals and reasonable balance, despite a certain degree of volatility. But enhancing market stability over the longer term will require a concerted and consistent effort. So we within OPEC and our partners outside the organization are sustaining our coordination agreement. In my view, it is reassuring that 24 of the planet's foremost oil producers remain committed to maintaining long-term market stability and playing a responsible and responsive role in bringing investment levels back to where they need to be. In this context, Saudi Arabia and Russia are discussing extending cooperation in order to monitor the market and take joint action when necessary to maintain stability, which is good news for producers and consumers alike. Of course, the Kingdom has always been a responsible and reliable actor and has consistently adopted a long-term view of the market. As our oil supply costs are among the lowest in the world, we intend to continue playing our part in ensuring supply security by making suitable investments, bridging the trough, so to speak. In fact, Saudi Arabia's spare oil production capacity represents the majority of global spare capacity today. And as many of you know, there have been numerous occasions in the past when our spare capacity has meant the difference between prosperity and peril for the global economy. Today, I can assure all of you that we will continue to play that responsible role going forward. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, as the policymakers responsible for guiding the global energy transition already underway, we must plot a course that protects and promotes the interests of all stakeholders. I strongly call for the adoption of the concept of the totality of energy I outlined, wisely investing in a robust global energy portfolio that includes both existing and new energy sources, thereby avoiding the trough investment risk. The accessibility, adequacy, and affordability of future energy are important for all nations, as is its environmental impact, and our work here today is very vital. I thank you for your attention and wish you all a very productive set of meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your views on how we approach the grand transition which the energy sector is experiencing globally, especially in the wake of the huge disruptions and uncertainties. Thank you for your views. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I request and invite His Excellency Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, the Honorable Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, and the Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, India, for his address.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, His Excellency Mr. Khalid Al Falih, Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources, Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Dr. Sun Xiansheng, Secretary General, International Energy Forum, my ministerial colleague who have traveled from far and wide, heads of international organizations, CEO of global oil and gas companies, delegates and friends from media, Namaste and welcome to India to the 16th IEF Ministerial Meeting. It is indeed an honorful privilege for me to welcome all of you to the 16th IEF Ministerial Meeting. India is hosting this important event after a gap of 22 years during which much of the energy landscape has transformed. Today, India is the third largest energy consuming country in the world. It is also the third largest importer of crude, the fourth largest importer of LNG, and the fourth largest refiner. Our global engagement has considerably enhanced. Along with the chairmanship of IEF, we are also an associate member of country of the IEA and have started an institutional dialogue with OPEC. Energy has become a key element of our diplomatic engagement, both bilaterally and multilaterally. At the core is the resolve of the government led by Prime Minister Sri Modi to provide universal access of clean, affordable and sustainable source of energy to all our citizens. For him, energy access is about improving and transforming the socio-economic lives of the common people of India. In India, in the last 4 years, the oil and gas sector has witnessed several path-breaking reform initiatives on the both policy and regulation fronts. On the upstream side, we have implemented a national data repository which houses the geology and geophysics, drilling and production data for all basins in India. A new formula to determine the price for domestically produced natural gas has been implemented, while a special market-friendly pricing dispensation has been put in place for gas production from difficult areas. We have launched a new investor-friendly policy called Hydrocarbon Exploration Licensing Policy, or HELP, which allows marketing and pricing freedom to operators. Several new measures are being taken to expand gas pipeline and LNG infrastructure in India, including investing in the construction of the fast cross-country gas pipeline in eastern and northeastern India. We are setting a fast-ever gas trading hub during the last quarter of this year. The government is also working on unbundling, marketing and transportation of gas. In coming months, we are linking about 170 new districts with city gas networks. Prime Minister, during his tenure as Chief Minister of Gujarat, had raised the share of natural gas to 26% in the energy basket of Gujarat. At national level, we are working towards raising the share of gas from 6.5% to 15%. In the downstream sector, we have deregulated the price of high-speed diesel, thereby giving a level playing field for the private fuel retailers. Last year, we introduced the practice of daily dynamic pricing. In sync with Prime Minister's commitment at Paris Climate Conference, we are promoting biofuels, Euro 6 fuels, LNG and CNG as transport fuels. The much appreciated PM Ujjwala scheme to give universal access to the LPG as a cooking fuel is also a step in this direction. Prime Minister has always given importance to energy sector, given its linkage to development and elevation of poverty. He has defined 4 pillars of energy foundation for India: energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, and energy security. He has also quite rightly pointed out that we must avail all sources of energy such as solar, wind, hydro, coal, oil, gas, nuclear and biofuel, etc. I sincerely believe that this narrative can be a model for the world, especially for the developing countries in their pursuit to achieve fine balance between securing their energy needs and achieving economic and social development. From a global perspective, global market shifts, technological disruptions, and possible disruption in form of energy transitions are shaping the future of energy security. We cannot work in isolation. Any action on energy must take into account the global consensus achieved by the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the Paris Agreement of 2015, and decision of the G20 leaders meeting in Hamburg in 2017 and regard energy security as one of the guiding principles for energy transition. The uniqueness of IEF as a neutral forum is that it brings together producers, consumers, international organizations and CEOs to engage in a frank and transparent and inclusive dialogue. I am sure you are all looking forward to hearing our Prime Minister about his energy vision. So I end here and welcome all of you again to IEF and to India and wish you a pleasant stay. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us the various energy reforms which India has been able to take under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, shaping a better energy future. And as we now look forward to the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, I request and invite the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, for his inaugural address.
Minister for Energy, Saudi Arabia. Minister for Petroleum Natural Gas, India. Secretary General, International Energy Forum. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to India. Welcome to 16th International Energy Forum Ministerial meeting. I am happy to see such a large participation of energy ministers from producing and consuming nations, heads of international organizations, and CEOs in this forum. As you come together today to discuss the future of global energy, the world is seeing a great transition in energy supply and consumption. Consumption growth has shifted to non-OECD countries, Middle East, Africa, and developing Asia. Solar photovoltaic energy has become economical compared to all other energy sources. This is changing the supply paradigm. Abundant availability of natural gas globally, with increased percentage of LNG and natural gas, is contributing to the primary energy basket. The US may soon become the largest producer of oil. It is predicted to meet a major portion of the additional oil demand in the next few decades. Coal may gradually go out of favor as a major contributor to primary energy in the OECD world and later in developing countries. The transport sector will see massive changes in the next few decades with adoption of electric vehicles. The world is committed to the climate change agenda based on the COP21 agreement. The energy intensity of economies will change with focus on green energy and energy efficiency. Last month, I came across an energy forecast prepared by an agency according to which India will be the key driver of global energy demand in the next 25 years. India's energy consumption will grow by 4.2% a year for the next 25 years. This is fastest among major world economies. The report also mentions that gas demand will be triple by 2040. The number of electrical vehicles will rise to 320 million by 2030, up from 3 million today. We are entering an era of energy abundance. However, 1.2 billion people still do not have access to electricity. Many more do not have access to clean cooking fuel. We must ensure that this situation is not exploited to the detriment of the underprivileged. People must have universal access to clean, affordable, sustainable, and equitable supply of energy. Let me share with you some of my thoughts on the hydrocarbon sector and our endeavor to achieve energy security. Oil and gas are a commodity of trade, but also of necessity. Whether it is for the kitchen, for a common man, or for an aircraft, energy is essential. The world has for too long, seen prices on a roller coaster. We need to move responsible pricing, which balances the interests of both the producer and consumer. We also need to move to transparent and flexible markets for both oil and gas. Only then can we serve the energy needs of humanity in an optimal manner. If the world has to grow as a whole, there has to be a mutually supportive relationship between producers and consumers. It is in the interest of producers that other economies keep growing steadily and rapidly. This will ensure growing energy markets for them. Efforts at artificially distorting prices are self-defeating, as history has shown us. They also cause undue hardship, particularly to those at the bottom of the pyramid in developing and least developed countries. Let us use this platform to build a global consensus on responsible pricing. This will serve the mutual interests of both producers and consumers. Given global uncertainties, India also needs energy security. My vision for India's energy future has 4 pillars: energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, and energy security. Energy in general and hydrocarbons in particular are an important part of my vision for India's future. India needs energy which is accessible and affordable to the poor. It needs efficiency in energy use. As a responsible global member of the Committee of Nations, India is committed to combating climate change, curbing emissions, and ensuring sustainable future. The launch of the International Solar Alliance is a step towards fulfilling this commitment. Friends, currently, India is the fastest growing large economy in the world. All leading agencies such as IMF, World Bank, ADB are estimating India to grow at 7 to 8% in the near future. Our government has been able to achieve high GDP growth with low inflation, well-controlled fiscal deficit, and stable exchange rate. This macroeconomic stability is boosting both consumption and investment in the economy. India is also blessed with demographic dividend. The working age population as a share in total population is one of the highest in the world. Our government is boosting local manufacturing through Make in India and scaling of youth in industries such as textile, petrochem, defense, engineering, etc. This in turn is also increasing our energy consumption further. We have also revamped our upstream policies and regulations and brought transparency and competitiveness in the sector through the launch of hydrocarbon exploration and licensing policy. The bidding criteria has been changed. The revenue sharing, which will help reduce government intervention. Currently, a bidding round is open till the 2nd of May. I request you to participate in our endeavor towards increasing production. The open acreage and National Data Repository will help companies participate in fields they are interested in and help increase the exploration interest in Indian fields. The enhanced oil recovery policy aims to promote the use of latest technology in improving productivity of the upstream fields. Our downstream sector has been completely liberalized with market-driven petrol and diesel prices reflecting the change in the price of crude oil. We have moved towards digital platforms in fuel retail and payments. Our government has encouraged private participation across the entire oil and gas value chain from upstream production to downstream retail. Our government believes in an integrated approach to energy planning. And our energy agenda in India is inclusive, market-based, and climate-sensitive. This, we believe, would go a long way towards achieving 3 energy-related components of the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda, namely universal access to modern energy by 2030, urgent action to tackle climate change in line with the Paris Agreement, steps to improve air quality. Friends, we believe access to clean cooking fuel is very important to improve standards of living. Women benefit the most from it. It reduces indoor pollution and hardships faced in collecting biomass and firewood. It gives them increased time for further self-development and taking up additional economic activities. In India, through the Ujjwala Yojana, we provide free LPG connections to women from poor households. The aim is to provide clean LPG cooking connections to 80 million poor households. 35 million connections have already been provided in less than 2 years. We propose to shift to BS6 fuel by April 2020, which is equivalent to the Euro 6 standards. Our refineries are undergoing massive upgradation. They are on target to meet the ambitious deadlines to provide clean fuel. In fact, here in Delhi, we have already started offering BS6 standard fuel this month. We have also launched a vehicle scrapping policy which will help replace old vehicles with cleaner and energy efficient vehicles. Our oil companies are assessing all their investments, keeping in view the energy diversification strategies. Today, oil companies are also investing in wind and solar capacities, gas infrastructure, and also thinking in the direction of investing in electric vehicle and storage areas. Friends, as we are all aware, we are now looking towards the industry front 4.0, proposing to change the way industry operates in the future with new technologies and processes like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics process, automation, machine learning, predictive analytics, 3D printings. Our companies are also adopting latest technologies. This will improve efficiency and increase safety and reduce cost not only in downstream retail but also in upstream oil production, asset maintenance and remote monitoring. In this backdrop, India provides the perfect setting for hosting this event to ponder over the future of the energy sector, to reflect on how global shifts, transition policies, and new technologies will influence market stability and future investment in this sector. Friends, the theme of IEF 16 is the future of global energy security. I am told that the agenda aims to address issues like global shifts in producer-consumer relations, universal energy access and affordability, and promoting investment in oil and gas to meet future demand. Maintaining energy security and coexistence of new and existing technologies are also to come up for discussion. These are all pertinent subjects for the future of our collective energy security. I believe that the discussions at this forum will go a long way in benefiting the world's citizens in accessing clean, affordable and sustainable energy. I wish you all a successful and fruitful Minister Conference. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, sir, for sharing the progressive vision which you have envisioned for a very vibrant India. Thank you to the Honorable Prime Minister. Our thanks also to the other dignitaries, appreciation to His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, the Honorable Minister of Energy.
We just heard Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, addressing the delegates and representatives of 72 countries on the issue of energy security in the inaugural session of 3-day 16th International Energy Forum Ministerial, held here at Darbar Hall of Hotel Taj Diplomatic Enclave in New Delhi. IEF 16, in which delegates have gathered to consider how global market shifts and energy transition will shape the future of energy security. So that was live telecast came to you. Thank you viewers for watching. We now take you over to studios. Namaskar.